The first words shattered a quiet Saturday morning more completely than any scream ever could. 3 little girls, identical in every way except for the colorful ribbons tied into their hair, stood outside a neighborhood farmer's market staring at a man carrying a paper bag of fresh bread. Their tiny faces were filled with innocent certainty as they pointed toward the faded compass tattoo on his wrist. Then, almost in perfect unison, they smiled and said the sentence that stopped his heart. They told the single father that their mother had a tattoo exactly like his. The bag slipped from his trembling hands. Apples rolled across the bright sidewalk. The world around him continued moving under the warm golden sunlight, but for him, time had frozen. Because that tattoo had only ever belonged to 2 people, and one of them was supposed to have disappeared forever 8 years ago. Before we continue this unforgettable journey, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to Kindness of Hart. Every act of support helps these stories reach hearts that may need hope today. Silas Rowan had spent 8 long years convincing himself that some questions were never meant to be answered. Every sunrise was another reminder that life moved forward whether people were ready or not. After losing the woman he loved under circumstances nobody could fully explain, he had poured every ounce of his energy into raising his adopted son, Milo. Becoming a single father had forced him to become stronger than he ever imagined. He learned how to braid messy hair for school plays when Milo's friends needed help backstage, how to cook dinners that looked terrible but tasted wonderful, and how to smile even on nights when loneliness sat beside him like an unwelcome guest. The faded compass tattoo on his wrist had become more than ink. It represented a promise made years earlier between 2 young dreamers who believed they would always find their way back to each other. The 3 little girls couldn't have been older than 7. Their bright eyes sparkled with curiosity instead of fear. They weren't trying to play a trick or create confusion. Their innocent confidence made every word feel painfully real. As Silas struggled to breathe normally, an older woman hurried toward them carrying shopping bags. She introduced herself as their grandmother, Mara Ellington. Embarrassed by the girls' excitement, she apologized politely, but before leading them away, she noticed the tattoo herself. The color drained from her face. Her hands began shaking just enough for Silas to notice. Something inside her expression revealed she recognized the symbol too. For several uncomfortable moments neither adult spoke. Around them, families laughed beneath colorful market tents, musicians played cheerful melodies, and children chased soap bubbles floating through the warm afternoon air. It was an ordinary day for everyone else. Yet for these strangers, the past had suddenly returned without warning. Mara quietly explained that her daughter, Celeste, had been living in another state after surviving a devastating accident years ago. The crash had stolen much of her memory, leaving behind scattered fragments that never completely returned. She remembered emotions before names, places before faces, dreams before reality. Doctors called it rare but possible. Family members had carefully helped her rebuild a peaceful life instead of forcing painful memories she could not reach. Recently, however, she had begun sketching the same compass symbol repeatedly without understanding why. She even insisted on keeping the tattoo despite never remembering when she received it. Silas felt hope and fear battling inside him with equal strength. He had spent years mourning someone he believed had chosen to disappear. Now every certainty he had built his life upon was collapsing. Yet another question haunted him. If Celeste had survived, why had nobody found him? Why had fate waited 8 years before allowing 3 innocent children to speak a single sentence? Days later, with Mara's encouragement, Silas agreed to visit. The journey was filled with unbearable silence. Milo sat beside his father, quietly holding his hand, sensing emotions too complicated for words. When they arrived at a peaceful countryside home surrounded by blooming sunflowers under brilliant daylight, Silas saw a woman watering flowers near the porch. Time had softened her features but not her kindness. She looked up as they approached. Her eyes settled on his wrist before slowly lifting toward his face. Recognition didn't arrive like lightning. It came gently, like the first rays of dawn breaking through darkness. Her watering can slipped into the grass. Tears formed before she understood why they were falling. Memories rushed back in scattered flashes. A crowded train station. Endless laughter beside a lake. Two young people promising that no matter where life carried them, they would always follow the compass because home was never a place. Home was each other. The emotional weight became too much for everyone standing there. Even the triplets sensed something extraordinary unfolding. They quietly hugged one another while Milo watched his father cry for the first time in his life. There were no dramatic speeches. Only silence, tears, and the realization that love sometimes survives even when memory does not. Over the following weeks, pieces of the past slowly returned. Celeste learned that after the accident, identification errors and medical complications had separated records across different hospitals. By the time confusion was corrected, she had already begun treatment hundreds of miles away with almost no recollection of her previous life. Her grieving family believed the man she loved had chosen to move on after receiving incomplete information himself. Both sides had suffered because of tragic mistakes rather than cruel intentions. Instead of dwelling on lost years, they chose gratitude for the years still waiting ahead. Silas never expected life to erase his pain. Instead, it transformed that pain into compassion. He understood that broken people often carry invisible battles no one else can see. Milo welcomed Celeste with remarkable maturity, while the energetic triplets immediately accepted Silas as someone special long before any official title existed. Their home became wonderfully chaotic, filled with shared breakfasts, school projects, laughter echoing through sunny afternoons, and quiet evenings where everyone simply appreciated being together. The faded compass tattoo no longer represented loss. It became living proof that hope sometimes travels the longest roads before finding its destination. Every glance at the ink reminded Silas that kindness toward life, even during its darkest seasons, leaves room for miracles no one could predict. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Kindness of Hart. Your support helps these stories of love, forgiveness, and second chances reach people who may be searching for light. Special request, please comment. Hope always finds the way, Red Heart. If you believe that true love, kindness, and second chances can overcome even the deepest loss. Sometimes the greatest miracles don't arrive with loud celebrations or impossible magic. Sometimes they arrive as three smiling little girls on a sunny morning, speaking one innocent sentence that changes everything. And perhaps the most beautiful truth of all is this: when hearts refuse to stop believing in kindness, even the longest journey home can finally come to an end.